All right, so for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Knipex 9518-200 twin coating cable shears. Now, this is the black oxide or black anodized finish of the tool. We did previously take a look at the chrome plated version, which I have right here on the channel quite a bit ago. But I just recently picked these guys up because if you haven't been around this channel for a while, me being me, I like to collect these insulated handle tools from Knipex. So this is just me trying to finish off my collection, so I might as well add this to the collection and at the same time make a video out there of them. So like I said, these are the VDE handles. Now, if you don't want the insulated handles, I believe Knipex does offer them with the dipped handles, and I know for a fact that they offer them with the comfort grip style handles. I'm not sure if they've quite come out with like a full line of their newer comfort grip handles, so I'm not sure if you're still going to be able to get these with the older comfort grip handles, or if they're going to come out with the new comfort grip style handles where they got those kind of clips that kind of clip into the end of the pliers, where you can clip different colors and things into them. That little system that they came out with. But this is the VDE or 1000 volt rated ones. So pretty much with the VDE, the 1000 volt rating, you're almost always going to have the red and yellow style handles. Now you might see like Klein, they do have some orange and black style handles, or they just got like straight black style handles, or excuse me, straight orange dipped handles. Knipex, I believe, does offer a line of just the straight classic like dipped handles, that dipped rubber, that thick insulation rubber on them, but this is the more like the comfort grip style, which is the version I like. So on the handle here, you're going to have your model number, and like most of Knipex's pliers, they are made in Germany, so you're going to see that quite often on this tool. And then you're going to see the year the tool was produced. So this was produced in 2023. Generally, just the year on the tool kind of gives you an idea of how old the tool is. And if it's something you still want to be using, let's say 30 years down the road, you're still using the same tool. Is that insulation still going to be to the same standard as it is to the time that you're using it? That's kind of one of the whole points of having a date code on there, just to judge how old the tool is. And then you have all your certifications and specifications that the tool meets and or exceeds, that it will protect you against 8,000 volts. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they test them up to 10,000 volts, but they rate them for 1,000 volts. So there is that. And then on the inside of the handle, you're going to have some more, you're made in Germany, and some more of the specifications. And you also have a little bit of a warning that says turn off the power and wear eye protection or adequate eye protection. And then the back side of the handles, you're going to have the do not cut steel. These are only for cutting copper and aluminum wire. You're not going to be cutting hard wire with these. You're going to wear out and or damage the cutting knives on these guys. Now coming up to the business end of the tool, you have the Knipex name laser etched onto the surface. And then you have your twin cutting edge here. So you can kind of use this top one for your like biting into a multi-conductor wire. Trying to bite off some of that insulation, or you can use it for stripping some wires, and then you're going to have your main cutting knives here at the bottom, where you're going to have the most leverage if you're cutting through some thicker conductors. You're going to want to use them back here rather than trying to cut with them up front where you don't have as much leverage. Now you do have a slotted screw here that will allow you to tighten and or loosen the tool up. I currently have them at the perfect looseness for me, but everyone is different, so you are able to just adjust that screw. And all it does is just tightens and loosens the pivot joint. So if you like yours a little bit tighter, you can tighten them up, or if you want them super loose, you can do that. But I think I have them to where I am happy with them. So that's pretty much it for the detail on the tool. Now we'll get to some of the functionality of the tool. Well, the main functionality of the tool is for cutting wire. So we're going to go ahead and bring in some wire here and show you how well it works when cutting conductors, and it cuts through this 12 gauge stranded wire without an issue. And you can use those front knives if you wanted to. It's just not going to be as nice cutting through as when you use those back ones. You see, you don't have as loud of a snapping sound as you do when you cut up front with them. Now, one thing about these is if you wanted to, you could use them to strip wire. Maybe you just had to do a quick termination or whatever, and you just needed to strip a wire and you didn't have a pair of wire strippers on you. You could use either knives to do it, so we'll go ahead and use the front knives there to pull off the insulation and strip it, and you're able to do that. And then you can also use the back knives with it. You just want to be careful if you're going to use these as a pair of wire strippers to not nick and or damage that wire. So it pretty much annihilates that 12 gauge stranded wire without an issue. Now we're going to go ahead and bring a little bit thicker of a conductor in. We're going to bring in, I believe this is, it's either, I believe it's number 6 wire. I got off of a rooftop changeout that we did. And we're going to go ahead and use these guys to cut through that 6 gauge stranded wire without an issue. Now, I don't think you're going to have too fun of a time if you tried to use those front knives to cut that wire. Probably going to sit there and struggle a little bit. But if you wanted to, might as well go ahead and strip that wire. And I believe I just cut one of the insulation or one of the wires there. So we'll go ahead and cut that guy off, and we'll go ahead and do that again. Just kind of go and pull off that insulation. Takes a little bit of practice to get it right, where you don't want to cut too deep into there. But you are able to use those front ones to strip this 6 gauge wire, and you are able to chomp that and have a nice smooth cut where you can run your finger across it and not have to worry about it cutting you. So that was with some 6 stranded wire. We'll go ahead and bring in a little bit of a smaller wire, but a few more conductors. Now this is some 18/8 wire, so it's not as going to be as hard to cut through, but you got 8 conductors there on the inside, and we'll go ahead and chop that through. They have no issue, and again, you have a nice smooth cut when cutting through that. And then for our final test, if I can get it in here, we'll bring in some wires that are taped together, and we'll go ahead and cut all these conductors at once and see how they do. So you can go ahead and get them all into the tool. You're going to need quite a bit of leverage to do it, but you are able to cut through. You're able to cut through all those conductors without an issue. So overall, these are definitely a nice pair of cable shears from Knipex. Like I said, you can either get them in the black anodized, black oxide finish, whatever you want to call it, or you can get them in the chrome plated version. It just depends on the environment or what pair you're looking for. Now, one thing to note is the chrome plated version of the plier is going to run you a little bit more than just the standard black oxide finish. That is, I guess you could say, one of the differences between them, or one of the big differences between them is going to be the price, and obviously the finishing on them. But overall, definitely a nice pair of cutters from Knipex. And with that being said, that's pretty much all I have for this video. As always, there will be some links down in the description below if you'd like to pick these up for yourself. There'll be quite a few online retailers that stock these, where you can order them online and have them shipped to your house. And there will also be a link down in the description that'll take you right over to the Knipex website if you want to learn some more information about these pliers. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.